I have been asked to bring up the issue of badges, okay? It's come up in the unit head staff meeting at least the last couple of times. And there's an issue of people not wearing badges, not getting temporary badges, having visitors come in, not getting badges for them, and things like that. So, effective January 1st, I get to be the bad guy. I'll be taking names. And I will be sending those names to Libby and the unit head for that individual. If you do not have a badge, or if you do not have a sticker, or if you have a visitor that does not have a badge or a sticker, okay? So if you forget your badge, that happens, go to the front door, ring the doorbell, come on in, sign in, they'll give you a green sticker or a pink sticker for employees. If you have a visitor, say a contractor who doesn't have a DOT badge, if they do a lot of work, then you probably need to make sure that they get a badge, makes it easier. But if they don't have a badge, make sure that they ring the doorbell up front and they sign in and they get the green visitor sticker badge. That includes spouses and children. Okay, so if we have a function at the holidays and you bring your kids up, they need to all sign in, they need to all get stickers. Okay? Neat.
What if you left your badge inside and you just need to come in and go get it and swipe it? That happened to me one time.
All right. Well, that's a good question, because I hadn't said this yet, but I guess you'll have to go to the front door, ring the doorbell,
Yeah.
and beg to Marilyn to let you go back to your desk and get your
Well, I
badge.
didn't beg, but I think I pissed her off. I let me sign in because I said I would go get my badge and come back and swipe it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Kevin is really coming down hard on this. And the reason we're waiting until January 1st is I promised Kevin that I would make sure that I was able to, in person, discuss this with everyone one more time. The other thing, and that's a good point, is when you're in the building, your badge has to be worn and visible at all times. So hopefully we won't run into that issue in the future. The policy, the badge policy is on TEPL. It's under W35. Can't find it. You want a copy, I'll be happy to get you one. But it is supposed to be worn visible from the waist up at all times. And if you read the back of the badge, it says it has to be worn at all times when in a building occupied by DOT. So that includes if you're going down to Division 8 for a signing meeting or a work zone meeting, you have to work down there too. Okay. So I know several people keep them in their wallet, keep them at their desk. We don't need to do that anymore. Okay. This has become an issue that Kevin wants addressed and never wants to hear about it anymore. It's like extension cords. He never wants to hear about those anymore.
This was brought up at the last meeting. What's the age limit for kids?
There is no age limit. If you're bringing your newborn baby in a carrier, then put that sticker on the carrier. Because if I find that carrier sitting in the hallway somewhere, I need to know who to return it to. And the other thing that was brought up earlier was tailgating. Okay? When you enter the building, you swipe your badge. Okay? Don't swipe your badge and hold the door open and 10 other people come in without swiping. Okay? Everyone who comes in the building has to swipe their badge.
And if you come before 8 o'clock?
If you come before 8 o'clock and you forget your badge and you don't feel like sitting in the parking lot for an hour and a half waiting on someone up front to be here, and you can call in and get your supervisor to kindly let you in the building, you immediately need to walk to the front, sign in. You can get the stickers up there whether Marilyn or anybody's up there or not. They're up there. So you just need to sign in and go ahead and get your sticker. If you didn't know it, there are temporary badges available that you can actually get to swipe in and out. To get one, you have to see Marilyn. You have to either, I think the rule is you have to give her either your driver's license or you got to give her $5. And then at the end of the day, you can turn in the badge and get that back. Okay, so if you don't want a sticker, you want a badge that'll actually swipe in and not out, you can do it that way. Right.
How much of a stickler are we gonna be with below the waist? I've seen them put the pocket, I've seen them put the.
I'm-
And it hangs, in that case, it hangs below the waist.
The official policy is above the waist. I'm a little lax on that as long as I can see the badge. So if it's clipped here, I mean, I wear mine here, I see lots of people that have it clipped to their pocket or their belt. I'm okay with that as long as I can see it. So, and if you need bungees or lanyards, we have those, just see me or, we still have a few left in there, don't we? So see Jackie or your safety coordinator and we can get you those. I always try to get a handful from security, so if we run low, we'll just get more. Anything else? All right, appreciate it. Jackie?
My name is Jay. I'm from Safety and Risk Management, and I don't normally do this, but since I'm being videotaped, I have to point out, I have to say this. How about them heels? Unranked heels beat #1 Michigan State by 14 points at Michigan State last night. That's got to stay on the video. Don't edit that out. All right. I don't usually do that, but I have to. All right, we're going to talk about, we'll do about winter safety. Has everybody got copies of the handouts? This is just informational stuff that you can use. This here, the last part of the presentation, the slides are very busy. I copied these from OSHA, so there's a lot of information here, and I'm not going to read it to you. You probably can't read it on the screen, and you certainly won't remember it. But take it home, look through it, share it with your family. It's all good information, good pointers. So hopefully we'll get something out, a little bit out of it. We're going to talk about driving, winter fire safety, or holiday fire safety mainly, and dealing with the cold weather. So driving in the winter, and this is adverse weather, more so than just the cold. But one thing you want to do is winterize your car. Keep your car in good shape. Check everything over. Go ahead and do that this weekend. It's going to be warm this weekend, but it's going to get cold, I think, on Sunday, right? But make sure you've got good, your windshield wipers, washer tank is full with the alcohol-based soap, because that helps dissolve ice and snow better than just water. Make sure your wiper blades are in good shape. Make sure your spare tire is there and is inflated. I used to have a college roommate who carried around a flat spare until he actually needed it, and then it turned into a spare flat, which didn't really help. So he ended up having to walk to the garage with his tire. Also, this time of year, you want to put some stuff in your car so that you have it in case of emergencies. A blanket, jumper cables, first aid kit. Some of this stuff you probably should have. Make sure you have a shovel, some sand, or some kitty litter probably works as a good traction. I wouldn't carry gravel. I'm not sure if I got some there. Cell phone, and someone mentioned in the last section, make sure you have a cell phone charger. And the other thing is, make sure your tank doesn't get below half full. When you get to half tank, go ahead and fill it back up, because that way you'll have more gas if you get stuck, and you can start your car up and heat it every once in a while, and charge your phone. So you don't want to run out of gas if you're stuck. Before you drive, let your car warm up, clean it off, and that means cleaning off the whole car, all the windows, and all of the side windows. Have you ever seen anybody driving down the road that had this much clear in front of them? And they have big sheets of ice on top of the car that come flying off at you from behind them. Yeah, I've seen that. So clean them off. Clean off your lights as well, because you want to be able to see with the headlights, and you want to be able people to see your brake lights. So don't leave snow packed around your lights like that. Make sure clean your windshield wiper blades, because they'll either stick and they won't move, or they'll just scrape pieces of ice across your windshield. So make sure those are clean. And you really kind of have to warm up the windshield to do that. Go. if you're having trouble getting your car started, don't sit there and just pump the gas internally because you'll flood it out. So try it for a little while, and if it doesn't work, just let it sit a little bit longer, and then try it again. And if you can't get it to work, then you'll have to get help. You can get a jump start. Anybody in here ever jumped the car? Okay, good. Anybody ever here in here not ever jumped the car or learned how or tried to? Okay. You know, it's red to red, black to black. Start with the dead battery first, and then hook it to the live battery. And your last connection should be to the ground, a metal part of the car, of the dead battery, inside the engine junction. You can hook it to the dead battery, but batteries give off hydrogen gas, and this is where your spark is going to be, where you connect that with that connection. And keep the live car running while you try to start the dead car. Make sure you got a good connection. It's all. It's easy to mess up, but it's a good skill to know. Teach it to your kids. Teach them how to change a flat tire too. All right. Driving in poor visibility, like we had this morning coming in. You know, there wasn't any ice or snow, but in a snowstorm, slow down. Give yourself lots of space between you and the car in front of you. Give yourself lots of clearance. Here's a little acronym. Patience is the one thing that I run short of myself, so I suggest you practice patience. You know, all the drivers out there who aren't me are, well, or you, aren't me or you are bad drivers. So, you know, in the snow and ice, people are being more careful. They're driving slow. They're doing things that you wouldn't do or you wouldn't think that they would do, but they do them anyway. But you just got to give yourself space and give yourself time, and just you'll get where you're going if you're careful. Stopping distance is increasing bad weather. In the snow and ice, in the snow, you're going to have twice as much stopping distance, at least. In the ice, at least 3 times more. And then you're also going to have likelihood of a skid in those situations. So give yourself more time between you and the car in front of you. Because, you know, people lose control in bad weather. And you never know when somebody's going to start sliding into you from, you know, in front of you from the side or something like that. If you have a little bit more space, you have more room to get away from it. So just use a little more caution, give yourself a little more space, a little more time, and you'll come out ahead. When you're braking, most cars today have the anti-lock braking system. I'm old enough that I learned how to drive a car that didn't have that. And I learned you pump the brakes to avoid locking the wheels and getting into a skid. Well, the anti-lock braking system does that for you. And it's more dangerous now to pump than to just put firm pressure on the brake and let the machine do the work. And it'll slow the car down without going into a skid. So unless you have a really old car or something strange, you probably have ABS system. So don't pump the brakes if you get into a skid, or any time really. If you are in a skid, steer into the direction of the skid. If you got a front wheel drive vehicle, give yourself a little more gas and let the car pull it out of the skid. Let the engine pull the car out of the skid. And then as it comes out of the skid, then you want to straighten out so you're going in the right direction. Anybody here ever been in a skid? A high-speed skid or a low-speed? I was in a fairly low-speed skid one time. I was driving to work, and I was going down this hill, and it was an intersection with a highway, but the highway was on a bridge. There were entrance and exit ramps, and there was a cop there. There's no traffic light. I don't know why the cop was even there, but you know, I was about from here to that wall, and he stuck up his hand, and I had to stop. And I didn't stop. I just skidded off to the side. I didn't do any damage, and I didn't hit him, but it was the wrong place for him to be as far as I was concerned. So, you know, skids are scary. So, if you're going slow, and this was on ice, and I was going slow, but I still skidded. If you do get stuck in the snow, when you get out of the car, to shovel, make sure you're safe. You know, don't get into traffic. The roads are slip, and other people are sliding around. If you're stuck, someone else is sliding around too. So don't get out in traffic just to get yourself clear. if it's dangerous. So be careful about that. You had a shovel in the trunk, right? So you carried that, and now you can shovel around the wheels, do the front and back, both sides, front and back of both wheels, of all four wheels, to give yourself some room. And then you may need to rock the car back and forth to get some momentum. And then if you can't get out, then just call for help because you have a cell phone charger, okay? All right, that's it for driving safety. Now let's move on to fire safety. This is, if you go to Google and Google Christmas tree fires, you get dozens and dozens. So I've got a video here. This is a Christmas tree fire. This video is about 105 minutes long, but they start showing credits after 105 seconds. At minute 5 seconds, they start showing credits after 48 seconds. How far in do you think that is?
2 seconds.
2 seconds? 10? 1? It's in between. Let's see if I can get this to work. Get my mouse to work here. Alright. There's a dry tree fire. Right. Let me pull it here. Let me go back. It pops up. I think I have it open already. That's
What was the
just-
cause of the fire?
This one is a set. This is they set the tree on fire just to show how fast it goes. And there's a timer. All right, if you look over here, you'll see the fire ignite. There, 0 seconds. Doesn't take long. This is a dry tree. All right. 6 seconds is what the video, what was the screenshot that I captured. So. And when you start getting electricity still on. I guess they're coming from over here though.
Not anymore, no more.
No.
That's scary.
The one video I was looking at that I didn't show was the U.S. Fire Safety Academy, USFA, yeah. So 48 seconds, and that's pretty much it. Let's see, let's take that. But they showed a video where they filmed a wet tree and a dry tree, and they had the wet tree never burned, but the dry tree just went up, just like that. Where does this not go? There we go. All right. So, make sure you have smoke detectors. Make sure they're working. Test them frequently. Replace the batteries at least every year. I always tell people to replace the batteries when you change the clock. Change your batteries. So that way you remember. It's twice a year. It's probably $5 or $10 extra a year, but it's worth it because it reminds you to test them too. So test them and make sure they're working. Everybody have a fire extinguisher at home? You get them for like $12 at Lowe's or Home Depot. Know how to use it, know what to do in case of a fire. Have your escape routes planned, especially from the second floor. If you have a wood-burning fireplace, have it cleaned, have it inspected. Every couple of years at least, depending on how much you burn. You know, some people burn all winter long. You should have it done every year. If you only do one fire a year, maybe every other year or something like that. Burning wood releases deposits in the chimney like creosote that stick to the chimney and then they catch fire and they get hot. So that's a good way to burn a house down. Keep your stockings away from the flame. If you got the fire going, make sure it's out. Make sure the ashes are cold before you remove them and put them in a metal can. Candles, we use candles at holiday time, so be careful with those. Keep them out of reach of kids, and make sure they're in stable candle holders so they don't get tipped over very easily. And monitor them. And don't leave them burning when you leave them when you go to bed. Christmas trees. Make sure you keep the stand filled with water. That tree in the back there didn't have water in it, and it was all dried out. And they got it pretty fast, so it's easy to let a tree dry out. Well, we used to get live Christmas trees, and when the tree skirt got pushed up into the water and the tree skirt wicked all the water out of it, the tree stand. And we caught it the same day. So it did dry the tree out, but it ruined all the equipment. So, so be careful about something, getting something in the water that'll wick it out. Don't let the dog drink it, that kind of stuff. And then when you're done with it, get rid of it, because once you finish with Christmas, you tend to forget to water it. And it's dead anyway. It's going to dry out eventually. It's going to stop sucking up that water eventually. So you want to get rid of it before it gets dried out, because you saw what can happen. And things like lights or candles and stuff will set those things off. Using lights, use the right kind of lights. Test them, keep them away from flammable materials. Any kind of Christmas light gets hot. Some get hotter than others. So if it feels hot to the touch, you don't want it next to something that's combustible, like Christmas tree. And unplug them before you leave, before you go to bed. All right, working in winter, cold weather safety. You want to stay warm. This is what I think you got your slides to hand out. Wear layers of clothing. Synthetics are best. There are clothes that wick water away from you to help you stay warm, and that's really good. They're expensive, but it's worth it if you spend a lot of time outside. Never wear cotton in the cold because it's not protected. Cover your head. You lose most of your body heat through your scalp. So keep that covered because of all the blood flow in your scalp. Dress in layers so you can take layers off without overexposing yourself to the cold. And protect your hands and feet. Frostbite. Frostbite is an injury that is caused by the cold. What happens is the water that's in your tissue actually freezes and turns into ice. And that's frostbite. So you don't get any circulation. Your fingers, skin becomes hard and waxy and white. Typically, it's on the extremities that are exposed to the cold more. If someone has frostbite, don't rub the affected area. Warm it gently with a warm water bath. And it could take a while. And then don't let them get cold again. Don't let that tissue freeze again, because once it's been frozen once, it's going to be cause a lot more damage if it freezes again. So, if you're in a situation where you think someone's got frostbite and it's going to be a while before they can get actually warmed up, just leave it like that until you can get them to where they can get warm. So don't thaw it out and let it freeze again. And I'll let you read this at your leisure. Wind chill. They were talking about that on the news this morning. I think that in Europe there's a big storm coming through, and talking about wind chill. Basically, the way this chart is, if it's 40 degrees outside and there's a 5-mile-an-hour wind, it feels like 36. We rarely get into these conditions here where there's a significant issue of frostbite within half an hour, at least here in North Carolina. But whether it's 40 or 36, it's still cold. You got to protect yourself. But wind does have a factor on how cold it feels. That's your wind chill chart. Hypothermia is a medical emergency, and it's when the body temperature drops below 95 degrees. If you see someone with this, then get them warmed up as fast as possible, and give them warm drinks, but drinks that don't have caffeine or alcohol. And that's important because that affects the blood flow. You can put warm hot packs in the high circulation areas of the body, and don't rub the person to get them warm. That just causes damage to the skin. If you're in water and it's cold, get out of the water. The water takes away the heat a lot faster than air. Now, you don't have the air pockets around your clothing, inside your clothing, to keep you warm, and water is not as effective as it is in air. So But again, I'll let you read these at your leisure to get more information. If you're working outside in the cold weather, pick the clothing that's right for the situation, wear layers, so that as you start getting warmer, you can take off layers without overexposing yourself to the cold. Take frequent breaks, and make sure that if you don't use the buddy system or work with someone, make sure that someone knows that you're outside working in the cold. Right? Don't just go out there and start shoveling snow or cutting up firewood at 20 degrees without anybody knowing you're out there, because you could succumb to winter illness and injury and nobody know about it. Again, drink warm beverages without caffeine or alcohol. Wait till you get inside to do that. You are at increased risk if you have health conditions such as these, and you take certain medications if you're in poor physical health. Right? That's why I don't show this. If you have a prior cold-induced injury or illness, you are more susceptible to a cold-induced injury or illness. Are you asking a question or just focusing? Okay. So if you've already had one, you should know that you're more susceptible and likely to have another one. So be aware of that. Some tips on shoveling snow. Take it slow. People die from shoveling snow. It's a very rigorous exercise. It's like lifting weights, and plus your body's dealing with the cold, and you're likely to slip. So, those kind of things. So just take it slow and be careful about it. And here's don't shovel after eating, don't smoke, dress warmly in layers, that kind of stuff. I'll let you read those. Good pointers. Trips and falls. Walking on snow or ice is hazardous, especially on hard surfaces like sidewalks and streets where there's ice. Look out for vehicles that lose control. You can get anti-slip things like footwear. This is how they go on a boot. I'll pass these around and let y'all look at them. I want them back, okay? You can get these at the depot. They're in the inventory. I don't know what the stock number is, but just go and ask them for anti-slip footwear. There's a couple of different types. Some have spikes. I haven't had a chance to wear those yet because I haven't been in a situation where I needed them. But the place where we have more slips is at transition. So, for example, if you're out in snow and you walk inside, now your shoes are wet, you got snow on your shoes, now the floor is wet and it's hard and it's smooth, so it's easy to slip. So be careful when you go from outside to inside, and similarly when you go from inside to outside, because your shoes are warm, they're going to contact that ice and be more slippery. So, clean your shoes off when you get inside, take those cleats off. And just be careful doing the transition stuff. Put salt down on the sidewalks outside the door is always a good idea. That's what we should be doing at building entrances. All right. So in summary, go ahead this weekend and prepare your car. Check it over. Make sure you got antifreeze. Make sure you got spare tire. Get your flashlight and your blanket. Your spare tire. Get your flashlight and your blanket, your shovel, and put it in the car. That kind of stuff. Practice safer driving. Give yourself some more time. Christmas tree safety and fire safety, and then keep your, keep yourself warm when you're working outside. And just remember, if it gets cold enough, you can say, "It finally happened." Any questions? Okay. All right. Well, that's it for me. Thanks, everybody.